Hello there. Welcome to yet another episode of Velocity by Hawky. So today we have as our guest Ashutosh Bharadwaj, who is a seasoned marketing and growth leader who has worked across various industries and widely different categories, all the way starting from a $1,000 roti maker versus India's first vernacular learning platform, and also one of the first premium home services brand in India, and so on and so forth. Ashutosh carries a lot of expertise across these businesses. Especially, he is someone who has worked on a lot of times. He has worked on building a brand sort of grounds up, where there is a well-funded competition that is already present, and he has sort of, let's say, created a own space for the brands that he has worked with. In today's episode, let's try to understand his thoughts on how to build a brand from grounds up, and how to play in a space where there are different type of competition, and also let's try to understand a little bit of counterintuitive techniques that he has, and let's understand his playbook a little bit. Welcome to the episode, Ashutosh. Hope we'll have a great session today.
Thank you so much, Surinder, for inviting me. It's a great honor to be on this podcast.
Sure. Thanks a lot. So I think we'll get started with your journey, right? So I think from all the way from a totally different background, I think from a operational excellence kind of a background to product, and then to eventually to digital marketing. I think you have sort of now consulting 15 plus brands across the spectrum. Why don't you take us through your journey, especially the moment which probably took you towards marketing, the moment that you realized the marketing is going to be the main thing that you want to do in your career. So maybe if you can take us through your journey, we'll take it forward from there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Surinder. Like I would call my journey towards marketing a bit of an accidental journey. Like serendipity has been one big theme in my life. Things happen and somehow they guide me towards a certain destination. So I used to work at Honeywell. I'm a chemical engineer by graduation. I used to work at Honeywell in automation systems, home security systems, fire, commercial and residential fire systems. Mainly an operations role, even though I did get promoted to be a team leader. I had always been good at. It is a stereotype, I think, that if you're good at communicating with people, talking to people, and I was also very good at so-called extracurricular activities. So there was always this thing in my brain that I want to go in marketing. It's something which is conditioned. I talk to a lot of people when I interview, especially freshers. I ask them, why do you want to be in marketing? A lot of times the answer is that because I am very good with people. I think I'm very creative, etc. I had all those
Right.
notions.
Okay.
I got a bit tired of the regular corporate kind of a thing. I don't know if it was a good decision or a bad decision because, nobody leaves that company. People who had joined when I had joined in 2007 are still with the company. A lot of people are still with the company, as you know. But I somehow thought that, okay, I always had this ambition of studying management, doing an MBA. I used to keep applying every year. It was very tough because you're in a regular job, etc. And then I got the opportunity to do an MBA. And that is when things turned. I immediately quit my job. It was a great thing. I was 28 years old and getting into like studying business. I had a bit of work experience with me also. So, I was always the grown up person in that in the class. I really liked finance. I really liked finance, but because I was an engineer, I didn't have an accounts background. So
Okay.
when accounts and the other things came up, it was a bit difficult for me. So sort of swayed into uh, into marketing. Now, this was,
Sure.
I graduated in 2012. Now, these were the wild west or the crazy days of marketing and especially online marketing and online products in India. Like
Okay.
Amazon had not joined in at that time. For e-commerce, there were mainly aggregators like Infibeam, Snapdeal, etc., etc. Some names which
Best
aren't there at
Buy.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of excitement about digital marketing, and
Sure.
after the MBA, a couple of friends we got together. Everybody was starting up. There was so much funding floating around. All these INC 42, Your Story, all these startup magazines, etc. that we hear of, they
Mm.
began during that time. There was so much hype. So
Okay.
we started a company. It was very like I don't know if we can call it a company. We bought a legacy e-commerce website.
Okay.
It was a huge e-commerce website which used to sell Hindi movies, like old Hindi and maybe even
mm,
vernacular movies
mm,
of those movies. So our idea was that people were very nostalgic, and these CDs were mostly out of print. So there is
mm,
some weird licensing things, especially about, and I'm talking about really old movies. So their licenses keep changing, and
mm,
sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not there. And people abroad who were very nostalgic, especially older people who were Indian people who were abroad, were very nostalgic, and they wanted to watch these movies, and no way they were coming on Netflix. So that was the business model. So that happened. I mean, a lot of things also happened. It couldn't really work out because the fundamental problem was that you can't really sell Indian licensed things abroad. Simple. I mean, it
okay,
was externalities. We immediately pivoted. We started with an agency, like a e-commerce. There was a concept of a e-commerce cataloging company at that time. I think in the world of AI, that's going to be over because product images and uploading e-commerce data, the whole sheet is something which AI will manage now. But at that time, it was
correct,
very labor intensive. So I did that agency wala thing. There was one moment, obviously, that I really recall. It was when I looked at Google Analytics for the first time. It was like we had set up a website, and we had even got
sure,
somebody's help to make that website on WordPress.
sure,
And when I looked at analytics and I looked at all those reports, etc., I was trying to do conversion tracking. I looked at the GTM thing, and I was so confused because this is somehow developer territory. When you're going in GTM, when you're talking about data layers, and you know, it's a bit of developer territory. And I'm not a developer; I was simply a marketer. So I was very fascinated. I was also scared as well. But at that moment, I thought, how can it be that I can't understand something? It's not possible. I mean, if you apply yourself to it,
yeah,
and obviously there was a lot of things within which were saying that you can't do this. There is no way you can do it, etc. But I think repetition is a beautiful thing. You do something again and again and again. In fact, recently I was setting up some conversion tracking through Google Tag Manager. So nowadays I use Google Tag Manager for everything. Every pixel will go
okay,
through Google Tag Manager, no other things. Then I remembered my
sure,
old days. I was so troubled at that time. So I think the biggest advantage of that was that in those days, I did everything on my own. Obviously, once I got out of the agency mode, I started heading marketing for very, very exciting startups which were making the market for those
mm,
products. I had great
mhm,
leaders who trusted me with initiatives and budgets also. And I had this thing in my mind, like reading so many marketing blogs, attending every webinar. And at that time, nobody knew. Maybe I
yeah,
know, even now, a lot of people don't know. But uh, through that, I became a hands-on marketer. So this is how I
okay,
meandered and stumbled my way into marketing. Now it's been like what? It's been 14 years since
yeah.
since I started. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for explaining that. I think that moment of getting maybe like a event of something like a door opening when you saw Google Analytics. I think that's what you will attribute towards getting started with marketing. I guess, right? Great. I think tools also have evolved significantly. I think Google Analytics and Tag Manager. I think probably would be probably at one point that would be that was extremely fascinating. Now there are like hundred other things that are able to do more fascinating things as well. And I think even now there will be people who will see such things and come into the field, right? So no, that's great way or like sort of way for someone to take inspiration and come in, I guess. So I think let's get started with one of your experiences. I think at Josh Coach, I think you were that was one of the first or the first Indian vernacular learning platform, and probably one of the first businesses that was built post the internet wave, or like say, I would even call it geo wave, right? So in 2016, I guess this was just post that. So how did you look at that? Maybe there are two things there. One is the geo wave. Like how did you see that this wave can eventually open up a lot of content businesses, and you started that, or like how did you foresee this? That's one. And also there is this angle of the Bharat definition also, right? I think this was built for the Bharat kind of content as well. So how did you see these two converging? And also I see Josh Talk to be one of the first platforms who used both of these narratives or these two avenues, right? So can you explain that? Did you foresee that, or was that engineered, or that like you just figured it out on the go? How did that happen?
So again, it was a coincidence.
Okay.
Who have Supriya and Shobhit, the founders of Josh Talk, they had figured out this wave and they were riding it. They knew that
Okay.
it has come.
Sure.
There is so much explosion in in vernacular content, and it was completely an unorganized market. Especially when they were in, they started off. It was one of the prime vernacular YouTube channels. When you talk about languages, almost pan India language coverage,
Yeah.
and not a North India heavy language coverage, also like very evenly distributed all over India. So they knew that
Okay.
if so many people, huge populations, that day I was, somebody told me that, the NCR has much more population than the entire population of Australia. And that's why people are crazy, because if you talk about Europe, Australia, these are small populations, small nations. If so many people out of a country coming online immediately, it is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
It is clear.
Yeah.
It's simply an you remember these, you would have would keep reading these consultant reports saying this market
Yeah.
will be this big in this future, etc. They're highly exaggerated most of the times, and that was clear. So at that time, Josh Talks was already a huge, mainly a Hindi YouTube channel with a couple of
Okay.
vernacular. So they gave the idea. They said that we want to do something for careers,
Okay.
that we want to be a one-stop shop for every stage of the career, from inspiring a person to guiding. My role was guiding, to
Mm.
tell them what options to go for, and then imparting those skills. So vertically
Okay.
integrating in the vernacular educational edutech space was their
Sure.
mission. I had my experiences in driving organic engagement and organic traffic.
Okay.
We'll talk about, I think later on, we will
Sure.
talk about Broomberg, where we made the market for clearing services, me and my team. So
Yeah.
I kind of understood how you get traffic. Also at that time, if it was the wild west of internet in English language, it was totally the dark ages when you talk about vernacular traffic. Vernacular content. What I'm trying to say is that the competition was very bad. So you'd mostly have bloggers and vloggers who were
Yeah.
looking for just AdSense income. They were using all the tips and tricks of black hat, like what you call black hat SEO, to simply. And
Sure.
since there
Yeah.
was no competition, all they were getting all the eyeballs. So there was
Sure.
a place for very high quality, genuine career, like ET enabled, obviously, like expert written content on career guidance. So
Okay.
this is where the the kind of the inspiration came from for us. And
Sure.
I set up a team of content developers, etc. And we started pulling in a lot of traffic, especially for organic, because we had high quality traffic. Another thing that we really benefited was the Josh brand name and the community built around it. So there was already so much engagement, there were so many views, it was already a known brand. So that was also really advantageous. Of course, I
Got
got a
it.
lot of insights from the Josh Talk teams on how Bharat thinks. Because see, I had started doing, Broomberg, my previous job in 2015. We were one of the very first companies that started doing Facebook ads. Insta wasn't that,
Okay.
it was Facebook, all Facebook and Google ads. We started doing
Okay.
Hindi, Punjabi ads, etc. So I had a bit of a
Okay.
idea. But this audience that I was targeting was a uh, tier one audience. I would
Okay.
say, it was a tier one audience, but somehow, see, even if people are very good at English, somehow their own language appeals to them better. That is what we were
Yeah.
playing for. But in Josh Talks, it was India 2-3 audience. So real Bharat, people who had first, their concept of the internet was mobile phone. For them, Facebook was the internet. If they had a mobile phone, this is
Okay.
how they went
Yeah.
through the internet. They had never accessed the internet on the laptop, etc. There was a
Sure.
different way of communicating. So these were all the things I learned. So my learnings from producing organic, doing organic traction, be it social media and mainly through inbound traffic, organic traffic with
Mm.
the concept of Bharat and all the great learnings that I got from the co-founders, because they knew the first thing they asked me to do is just forget about everything, talk to people. So I went around, called people, and it was a very nice ecosystem. You can call anybody, tell them I'm
Sure.
calling from Dosh Talks, and everybody was so happy. So this
Mm.
is how I got exposure in Bharat and learned how Bharat thinks really. And it's
Got
very,
it.
very different from how India
Sure.
works out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure. I can recollect one instance when I was working with Yellow.ai when we saw the WhatsApp, when WhatsApp became one of the prominent marketing channels, this was around 2018, 2019 times actually. And that's when they started allowing people to send marketing notifications on WhatsApp, right? So uh, even at that point of time, we were trying to see what kind of notifications work well on WhatsApp, what kind of conversations can be built on WhatsApp. And coincidentally, in 2020, COVID also had hit, and a lot of businesses were trying to use WhatsApp as their mode of customer engagement, as well as maybe even at times conversion. Like we used to enable brands to buy something on WhatsApp, like place an order and get it delivered through WhatsApp, because Swiggy or Amazon's actually went offline for some brief amount of time, right? So it was almost not there. So that's when we realized there is a huge portion of internet users who have not used anything apart from WhatsApp, who have only used WhatsApp as an app when they you started using internet, right? And we saw totally different behavior among that cohort actually. And then actually, then WhatsApp also introduced a lot of these new features that is designed for people who are using WhatsApp as their first, because like they'll not know what a cart is, or like what they'll not be able to. Let's say if I have to take my own family as an example, my grandma would not know how to add a product into cart on Amazon. But if we were to probably like chat and buy a product, she will be able to do that on WhatsApp because she knows WhatsApp very well. So yeah, I think that's great. I think the brands that pick pick this up early, I think made really great contribution to the way how the internet economy or internet ecosystem today is. Ashutosh. That's great. Now, maybe if we have to go to the next brand, right? So the Rotimatic, the $2,000 roti maker as a product. First of all, I think for someone who is looking it from outside in perspective, I think it would be an expensive roti maker product, right? I know the features are really great and one of its kind, and probably the first of its kind, and so on. But the price point would make the uh, buying cycle little bit lengthier, and there are a lot of other alternatives, probably not as efficient as this, but there are a lot of other alternatives with maybe a shorter life cycle and so on. Uh, how would you sort of uh, strategize your marketing efforts for a product which has a longer life cycle or like longer purchase cycle, as opposed to the alternatives that are already there which is shorter life cycle, and especially in a category like this? Ashutosh, like, can you probably give us some heads up there?
Absolutely. This was a very, very unique growth challenge for me. How do you bring growth for a product which everybody knows about? So, it's a legendary product, especially for the Indian diaspora living abroad,
Yes.
Silicon Valley
Yeah.
kind of people.
Yeah.
It's something which is just a very, very desirable object, and it fulfills a very practical purpose.
Correct.
And there is no help abroad, right? You
Hmm.
need to do
Hmm.
everything on your own. So there was obviously a lot of hype, and everybody kind of knew about it. So, but the fact that everybody knows about your product and you have a buzz is not equivalent to know to your customer getting all their questions asked. I think even for B2B or anything which is which is expensive and it has a long cycle. Again, when we are
Sure.
saying $2,000, I'm talking about buying the device along with the warranty and a couple of
Yes.
accessories. It's a big ticket size. The product
Correct.
itself is not that much. So the first thing that and since the product had been around for a lot of years, they were so like one of my the talismans that I have, even when it comes to marketing, forget organic marketing,
Sure.
is research of user research. And
Yeah.
when I'm saying user research, one part is obviously talking to people, surveys, etc. That is most necessary. The other part is keyword research,
Hmm.
because especially for products or product categories that have been there for a very, very long time, there will be there will already be brand keywords. And again, sorry, I keep coming back to the funnel. I know this is very annoying for a lot of people. For a very long time, I was annoyed when everybody started throwing the funnel at me, but it is there. So when you come to the awareness, when you go beyond the awareness stage, there is a very big consideration gap. It's a viral product. Even for a lot of B2B products, they are very, very viral. So, because they are viral, people do know about it, but it does not mean that people have all their questions answered. In fact, they have more questions. So, and then there will be questions for that category. how should I get this category, and then specifically for the brand. So the first, and in our case, there were a lot. So the first step that we did was complete. I mean, obviously, that's the first step for any product. Believe me, even if you want to do
Sure.
social media research, keyword research will always help you because it's finally what people are looking for. I don't know how it's going to work in the like in the geo world, but anyway.
Sure.
So I found out, not I, but the team and I, we looked at the entire cycle, and we distributed those questions within the website, the answers to those
Okay.
questions within websites, because then there will be some questions which are support questions, which are mostly post
Correct.
sales. Those also
Correct.
need to be answered properly because you should have a good wiki for your product since it's a complicated product. Then there were pre-sales questions about the product. So all these questions, once we recognize them, we would create all kinds of content. And I'm not saying write a blog, write a blog. No, there
Hmm.
are a lot of things which need to be in the FAQs.
Okay.
There will be a lot of questions that you will answer maybe in pre buy support pages. Okay, so
Sure.
this is a glossary in which before you make a buy, here are some questions that you have, and then again there will
Yes.
be a lot of questions which, so then once you have this entire, and now I'm talking about the whole consideration keywords, you distribute them and then you create very very good content for that. So third, when people are looking on the internet, third parties should not get that view. Why should a blog review come before my own question and answers? Like, so if somebody is asking how good is this product, it should be a third party. I agree. But when if somebody is asking a technical question about that product, it should be me who's answering. So that
Okay.
was another very important thing. And then I think that another thing which works for long, high ticket size products is uh, you know discounts and deals. That is something which is very very important. So we did a lot of experimentation on different combinations of discounts, etc. What is the best thing for what customers? Engagement is a very very important part. So once you have people's emails, or if they've abandoned a cart, etc., the cart abandonment emails, usually you just send one saying, hey, you
Sure.
are there. There needs to be a lot of testing between those emails when you
Yeah.
re-engage people, because people will not immediately go and buy
Correct.
for any big product. They will do their investigation. So first
Research.
understand what the customer wants.
Sure.
Yourself volunteer. Maybe there are some
Hmm.
things that maybe especially for B2B products, maybe there is some content that you don't want to cover. Even if it's not a brand content, you can ask influencers to do it on your behalf, right? If it's something which is very very valid, and the customer needs to really see that you care. Because if you have a detailed, because if you have everything, and these customers are nitpickers, all right, especially for something which is a high ticket value, they are rather looking for reasons to not buy the product, perhaps,
Yeah.
reasons to
Yeah.
not have it or buy a competition. Once they have everything, obviously branding has to be spot on, all
Sure.
hygiene has to be in place. It's not that you keep doing this and you'll get everything, because marketing is overall, branding in fact is a sum of everything. So these are some of the things which I also carried forward. Now whenever I like
Got
when
it.
I'm consulting a company, I will first go through the entire journey, sit with the subject matter expert, get the whole journey done to a couple of customers, and then get a SEMrush, go to SEMrush and start doing extensive keyword research. When your keywords are
Sure.
clear, everything is clear and it'll help you with every, is my philosophy.
Got it. Got it, Ashu. No, interesting. I think everyone should start with keyword research for whatever marketing effort that they are doing. That's great. Now, maybe as an extension of this question itself, right? These brands that you work with, most often they are something like a first in the category of sorts as well, and something like a category creation was needed at times, maybe for Broomberg, Joe Stocks, and so on and so forth, right? So how do you sort of tackle the game of demand capture versus generation? Like, how do you sort of, first of all, educate and create the market in the first place, as well as keep, let's say, funneling that interest down, right? So I'm sure that would be a tough thing to do as a marketer. It's not like there are already an established category where you already know that there are these many consumers who are waiting for this product or in a competition's product and so on. Then it probably becomes a little bit easier job to take it forward from there. But here you would have to create a category as well, like produce a lot of educational content, awareness content, and so on about the category itself. Then like start investing into your brand and then everything else, right? I'm sure it's a long game, not a very short one, but still, even the idea of doing a keyword research might not be really straightforward when you are doing a category creation activity. So, how did you tackle this in some of the brands that you have worked with, Ashutosh?
Yeah. Uh, m- I would love to talk about Broomberg in this case. It was a company which was one of the pioneers of the home cleaning services, uh, category. Obviously, there was a lot of excitement at that time, and I'm talking about 2015 when this category was
Yeah,
pretty hot.
yeah,
But again, it wasn't a concept. Like you've said, after I left Group Broomberg, we looked at the Google trend line for Google Trends for the whole thing, cleaning services. So cleaning services is the all-encompassing category
sure,
below which you have house cleaning, bathroom cleaning, car cleaning, etc., etc., etc.
sure.
So during those years, we could actually see a line climbing. There wasn't
Mm,
much interest, maybe a little bit of interest. Mainly, when people talked about cleaning, they were looking for DIY. How do I clean this?
okay,
How do I clean this? Etc.
yeah,
Etc. Remember, these are the early days of the internet in India. So
yeah,
there wasn't so much of DIY content also not there like
mm,
established. There was obviously content from foreign creators, but somehow us Indians don't take to it that easily. There is a lot of Indian
sure,
context to whatever we
yeah,
do. Now,
yes,
there was no question of demand capture at all, right? Because if there aren't any keywords, what are you going to capture, right? But what we did was we initially what we started was pure awareness. So it wasn't just us. There were a lot of other companies. Urban company was called Urban Clap at that time. They
correct,
were
correct,
also getting into this. Obviously, they were into a lot of other categories. There was something called a home try called. There were other companies. Amazon had also invested, etc., etc. There was a lot of excitement,
sure, yeah.
and at that time, Facebook
TaskRabbit
was yeah.
globally was becoming
Yes.
very big at that time, right? Yeah,
Exactly. TaskRabbit
yeah,
globally was a big company. We used to look at a lot of
yes,
concepts from TaskRabbit at that
sure,
time.
yeah, yeah,
So what we did was that we did a lot of Facebook advertising.
hmm.
No Insta at that time, and even in Facebook, you had your 16 by 9 creative. That's it.
Uh,
Carousel came later, video came later. You could only do that, and it wasn't just us. Everyone was doing it, and we especially were a Delhi NCR brand, so we were able to very successfully target people like the elite crowd in Delhi NCR, like Delhi NCR tier one crowd through a lot of creative ways. I mean, when you target somebody through their interests, it is always good to have tight knit interests instead of going all over the place. This is something that I've discovered. So if you put 20 interests in one, there will be so much of divergence. It needs to be Everything needs to be very tight because you're also going to exhaust the audience after some time. So we spent at least a year putting the word through a lot of different concepts, saying, how is home professional cleaning different from your maid? So we are not saying that you replace your house help. This is something that you need to do 2 or 3 times a year, and it will help your house help to keep everything clean. It's not something which is it is a it's not a replacement for anything.
correct,
A lot of
correct,
advertisement, a lot of social media, a lot of money spent through clever advertising. In fact, that is how I actually learned how to make a creative. Maybe I'll talk about that later. Just take a canvas, keep testing it, keep testing, because I did
yeah,
not know. Frankly,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't born as a marketer. So initially, obviously, for that kind of a category, you will have to build a brand, build the whole concept. Even for other, like when I was at Cool Kanya, there wasn't
uh,
a lot of inbound, and that inbound was going for edutech.
okay,
Our thing was different. We were a career based community for women. So
mm,
for us, the biggest thing was social media. Again, that was not managed. That wasn't managed by me. There was a beautiful content, amazing content team, brilliant people in
okay,
content. So they used to create social media and all kinds of social media, which in
sure,
those days would actually go viral. We would also promote social media. So this is another thing that I learned in Broomberg.
okay,
Whenever you put something on social media, it is always good to promote it for engagement or more eyeballs. It is
correct.
something I still use now, for instance, be it Instagram, etc.
Boost post, yeah,
Yes, boost the post, promote it, and then you can actually test it.
yeah,
We would be like the marketing team would be responsible for testing, and we would all sit in a room, put on a presentation, put everything. This worked, this did not work. Your stats are there, engagement rates, etc., and then the content team would completely get it. Let's do more of this, more of this. Now, another thing was that promote different social media product to different people of different interests. It is
okay,
great. It is amazing for you to have one key. We have nailed our list. We have one audience list, and we keep promoting all our audience or our content to this audience list. That is
Sure.
not right. In Cool Kanya, if someday we would talk about a certain book, we talk about a, five must read book for career success women in 2021.
Okay.
Particular post needs to be promoted to a group of, obviously demographics would be women, a certain age bracket, but then the interests there would be reading. So, there is different people will get different sort of
Yeah.
tractions. I really hate it when
Correct.
people will just say, ki, let's trust Facebook or Meta's logic, and let us not do the bare minimum. Open the audience. We will figure it out. Hey, I know if I had $1 million a month, I would do
Sure.
that. Let Meta intelligence figure it out. But most entrepreneurs don't have that much of fuel to put in the fire. So in that case, testing really helps. And boosting posts really, really help. So in Broomberg, when we did that, and
Got it.
obviously everybody else was making the industry, then suddenly keywords started showing up. you know, not suddenly, obviously it was. And then we were in a very, very good position to immediately capture them. So through
Got it.
our ads, we had kind of gone towards a perfect landing page, because I was very conscious that ads are only maybe 20-30% of conversion. Landing pages are very, very important, through pulling traffic through. So initially we started with advertising, Facebook ads at that time. Then when keywords started coming and we didn't have good ranks at that moment, we immediately pivoted into Google search ads. And we went
Okay.
so that we capture all these search, and it's not just us. In the end, there were four different competitors stacked against each other on Google search. Then we started enjoying this process. So we started needling our competitors in the ad, because I knew those four ads will come. So I will start needling them. I know you're seeing a lot of ads, but you know that we are the oldest and we are the best in Delhi NCR,
Mm.
because it is a competitive landscape. You're not doing it in isolation. So
Yeah.
then your demand capture starts from the search side. Again, this is not applicable for everything. For Cool
Yeah.
Kanya, we did not do Google search ads except for brand
Sure.
ads. If somebody wanted to know what Cool Kanya was, we can
Sure.
show what we want. But with
Okay.
Bloomberg, we captured everything. Now, all this time, we were also getting people on our website, and we were understanding, looking at Hotjar, and now everybody's using Clarity. Screen recordings, you look at screen records, you make a good user experience. And then we launched a new website with everything in place. And then we started capturing demand also. And we never stopped generating. Our
Okay.
Facebook advertisements continuously went out, and we were in other categories as well, like home painting
Okay.
services, marble granite management services. So
Okay.
it's like phases, but awareness, you can't leave it. I remember
Understood.
some time ago, I was consulting a person and they said, how do I know that my ads are effective? Founders, they want ROI. Obviously, there is investor money or their own money on the line. So my answer was very simple. Let's do this. Let's do a A/B test. Stop ads for 15 days. Even your organic traffic will fall. Your brand traffic will immediately fall. There is a clear correlation between the ads that you do and your
Yeah.
brand traffic. Right.
Correct.
We never
For
did it,
sure.
but I was confident enough to say it. So awareness never ends till the end. It almost
Right.
looks like you are wasting money, you're putting money in the fire. So I think this is my strategy. Keep pivoting as the market keeps changing.
Got it. Got it. Rishabh. That's a great insight. But for and again, you can take it from some of the brands that you have worked with itself. Most of the times, these are the brands that you have built almost from scratch or from, let's say, post product market fit or something like that, right? So now, uh, obviously, let's say a lot of brands earlier, when you start to build the brand, you will have a little less budget or almost no budget for branding activities early on, right? So in such a space, what are the kind of channels you would recommend to look at, let's say, for a very early stage brand with very less paid ad budget, right? So what are the channels you would recommend? I mean, of course, some of the organic ones and the other ones, but if you have to put a stack rank of list of channels for channels to start with, what would that be?
Again, it depends a lot on the
The
business
type
that
of
the company is, but there are some things that really, really work. So social media, number one. Even before, sometimes when I'm consulting companies, even before a website is up, and I'm talking about a company which is at zero, which is at that 0 to 1 stage, I will
sure.
suggest that forget the website, at least start with an Insta page.
Okay.
So, and again, it all depends on the type of social media. If it is B2B, I would definitely encourage them to start doing LinkedIn to get on the way to becoming thought leaders. And for
Correct.
anything B2B, B2C, the founder LinkedIn angle is always available. founder stories on LinkedIn, their
Sure.
experiences, whatever they've learned. I know it's very hard work. Maybe you can have somebody else do it for you. I mean, today in the world of AI, it's kind of simpler, but because social media takes time to create, to develop, it is all a question of doing and testing and not giving up and understanding. So that needs to start first. As soon as you have your website, if you have inbound for your category, for example, if there are keywords people are searching on either on ChatGPT or either on AI tools or even on Google, because now everything is changing,
Sure.
you deserve,
Yes.
your customers deserve for you to put in all the information. So the next thing that you need to start with is, first of all, understanding your customers. Again, if it is an existing category, you do know what your customers want in the consideration funnel. Everything
Yeah.
needs, so you first fix your consideration funnel. Any questions related to your product, wikis, questions, testimonials, reviews, etc., all of that needs to be there because people will investigate whatever you want. Obviously, you'll put in the bottom funnel, and then you also need to start with some top of the funnel work. Now, for top of the funnel, it is always my recommendation, look at competition. If there is a lot of competition, there is no point for you getting into top of the funnel organic.
Okay.
I mean, again, opinion from my side, but look at insurance. Look at what Policy Bazaar has done. Bank Bazaar has done. Anything which is related. In fact, it is pretty annoying that now they are even developing content for everything. So anything you put, your clear tax will come up. And you're like, clear tax, you don't even know do what I'm doing. Why are you creating this? Because finally what happened was they have a big content team. They were measuring it through traffic. They need to keep increasing traffic. So they created content in even categories that they have no business being in. That is very, very funny. Obviously, again, I'm putting a caveat. This can cause problems. Later on, I have seen a lot of people investing so much that they've just gone crazy with their blogs. And now they have too many pages, not a lot of traffic. So it takes a lot of time to actually come back, consolidate your website, get your index refreshed. But you have to start it at a zero stage because SEO or AIO, it will take time. Overnight, especially today, I mean, nowadays, there are no niche categories left. I mean, again, if you're a niche category, then good for you. Even hockey is something which is, I would consider it slightly a niche category. There aren't that many people creating content on that. So, first, social media, maybe founder marketing, very, very important. Acha, bit of PR. PR, please begin with PR. Anywhere you have an opportunity for a podcast, for anything, it's always good for you to be visible, either as a CEO or as a product, etc. Start social media from day one. People say, we will put something, we're not prepared for it. I say, do you know how long that content lasts? You're not writing a book in your name that it'll be there
Yeah.
forever. This content
Yeah.
goes out in days. Delete it
Yeah.
later on. Keep testing. At least find out what your
Yeah.
audience wants, and then
Yeah.
consideration first. First, answer all the questions for you because a website visit is a critical part. If somebody is convinced enough to go on LinkedIn and then go to your website, they will go through everything. They will read your story. I've seen a lot of people just creating a simple landing page. No, first create a very, very good website for your product. Make it very well branded. At least put it out there. People should be able. I'm not saying
Yeah.
make it fancy. Just make it descriptive, and then you start with a bit of top of the funnel as well. So
Sure.
this is the way that you should work with, and do ads there. At least boost your content. Put in a little
Boost
bit
it.
of money. It goes a
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Got it.
That's
Got
my
it. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot for that advice and feedback, Astush. So, you're someone I think you have been sort of, let's say, helping a lot of brands set up their in-house marketing teams lately, right? So, if I have to probably put you in spot and ask a question in terms of what do I mean, how do brands benefit, or rather, like, what do in-house teams do better as opposed to probably, let's say, hiring an agency, or what an agency teams would miss out as opposed to an in-house team. Ashutosh, what is your, first of all, what's your perspective with respect to these two ways of setting up marketing strategy internally, as well as what would you prefer and what works well?
So, agencies or outsourcing is inevitable in some cases. So, it all depends on your business strategy. Suppose I have seen that some companies get a lot of funding. So, if you have funding, you also have pressure to spend, right? And then obviously it is very difficult for you to have somebody train them, etc., etc. Maybe you get one marketing leader. In that case, I've seen that an agency makes sense because of fast turnover. Because
Okay.
you immediately want to start marketing day like tomorrow. If you
Yeah.
hire a graphic designer first, you had somebody, or maybe you go through freelancers,
Yes.
etc. It's a long drawn
Yeah.
process to get through that. So a lot of people somehow go for an agency. So my
Yeah.
thoughts are different, and they've stayed for very long. I am a big proponent of in-house.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you don't use agencies. I have used agencies for a lot of things. I would say that don't your core work should stay with you. So if you're a person who goes to a lot of founders who go to an agency and say set up our marketing strategy. At least own your strategy. The next step would
Okay.
be run our ads. I would say a better idea would be we are going to run our ads. You make our creatives. And again, I'm expanding outwards from the agency's perspective, taking care of everything to uh,
Sure.
I would graphic design support is something, again, in the world of AI, it's completely changing. But a couple of years ago, graphic design support was something which was very, very important and not a resource that you can do. Now, you don't have enough time to hire a
Correct.
full time graphic designer, right? Your freelancers are not very, they are freelancers. They're not very trusted. You can't trust them so much. Maybe if you have a lot of volumes, then you can outsource your creative creation to your agencies. All right. Maybe you have an in-house UX designer and you make a Figma, then development can be outsourced to agencies. So that
Sure.
is my thing that in-house is always good because even if people churn,
Mm.
the company gets the knowledge. Somebody gets the knowledge.
Correct.
So
Correct.
okay, so anything which is not very, if there is no specialization, then an
Sure.
agency is very good. For example, for a lot of B2B companies or even B2C companies, PR is something which needs to be managed through an agency. If you are an entertainment website or somebody which is a very PR heavy website, then probably you can employ somebody as a full-time PR person. A better idea would
Okay.
to have an external PR agency. So as I'm saying,
Sure.
core functions should stay with the team, and if there are any ancillary things, they should be given over for the benefit of going fast for a quick turnaround.
Got it.
That is my
Got
philosophy.
it.
And even now, as
Got it,
a
Rishi.
fractional CMO, so I'm working as a fractional CMO advising several companies. I will be managing agencies, but it is always my desire uh, for me to hire somebody, train them, and then put them in the ecosystem rather than rather than just outsourcing everything. Keep your things close,
Outsourcing.
important things
Okay.
close. Is my take. And obviously, when you have an agency, you have to
Got
monitor
it.
them
Got
really
it,
well.
Rishi.
I really hate it when you get into a competition with the agency. When you tell them you have not done this and they say you did not tell us this. So you also need to keep a very close eye if you have an agency. I'm not saying bug them, but keep a close eye on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Got it, Rishi. So great. So when it comes to, I think when it comes to ads, multilingual ads, I think you have been a part of the earliest multilingual ad, maybe 2015, 16 types, I guess. That's where uh, we, I think we started seeing more Facebook ads, and that meant more local ads and so on and so forth, right? Hindi and other languages as well followed the in addition to English. So back then, how was the testing process look like, especially for a ad with vernacular variations in it? Something might not even make a lot of sense if you don't have the regional expertise. Now, I think the models have evolved a little. It's almost becoming trustable, I would say, but still not completely dependable. You can't just use a model for your translation. But still, back then, it was. I assume it used to be a really cumbersome activity to manage it across the this in copy and the regional content and also the linguistics and so on. How did you manage first of all in coming up with that, and then it added up more complexity in your testing process as well? How did you sort of overcome that?
Obviously, testing is number one. When people ask me nowadays what works in ads, I will say, okay, why don't you test it? I really can't give you. I mean, I can give you very very high level things. Keep your message clear. Keep it very brief. There should be contrast between text, etc. But I can't really tell anybody unless I've run ads. My testing process was also a learning of discovery. The first thing that I did, and I'm talking with the very very early days when I didn't have much experience of running Facebook ads. There is not much choice. 16 by 9. I ran the ad. There was a certain benchmark where I worked. Okay, this is the benchmark, and the benchmark that I was going for, embarrassingly, was CTR. Okay, because at that time we didn't have proper conversion tracking setup. It wasn't that well set up. These were the very very early days. So, but CTR is a very very good top thing, especially for ads. Now, for me,
Yeah.
I created that ad on a whiteboard. And this is something that I still use, even though now ads have become really templatized. So my idea was to read it like a user and see what comes in my mind, be it vernacular or be it, English or any other language. The benefit statement needs to come out. And I'm saying, people keep talking about their own features. So this is something I keep lecturing people. We love as founders, we love our features. Did you know that we have this feature? Oh my God, what does the customer love? So for us, one of the very big examples was for bathroom cleaning. The biggest problem that people in North India had was here in Delhi NCR, the water is hard. Your fittings, they lose luster. Your wall, etc.,
Correct.
everything loses luster. And people wanted shine. In Hindi, they said chamakna chahiye. It should shine. So we were one of the first people to do that before after photography. So we had we started with a bathroom fitting. I was the
Sure.
one taking the pictures. So I would just sit and take a picture for the first
Sure.
shoot. After that, obviously, we had agencies. And then we would get somebody to clean it properly and then try to approximately take a picture and then put it
Sure.
as a before after with a streak in the middle. Now, there is no better visual than.
Yeah.
And then I experimented with a lot of other, like I and my team, we expected with a experience with a lot of visuals, even with animations and photographs. Nothing worked better than before after. Nothing worked better than you showing the process of cleaning. The process of cleaning rather than, faces, human beings saying, my house is clean. I use XYZ service for Bo. So for Hindi ads, so I found out that whole message has to be there.
Mm.
बाथरूम चमका देंगे. We will make your bathroom shine. That's it. An
Sure.
image to support that, right there, an image to support that. A splash with the rate and with the cut rate, saying that there's a discount going on, and a call to action saying book now. Those are the things which, and obviously you can move it around the colors. We change the colors, etc., getting to a template. But I looked at the ad and said that the main thing was, does it appeal to me? It appeals to other people. Obviously, there's a lot of testing. It is always necessary. Sometimes things might be counterintuitive for you. You might think, yeah, this is something, but there is something else. So that was my mantra. Keep testing.
Sure.
For
Got it.
vernacular audiences, I really liked a single message. In fact, for bathroom cleaning, we had a landing page where you would obviously you would see that before after you come to the landing page, there was only one headline, one sub headline, a form like a simple form, and there were just pictures of before after objects in the washroom.
Sure.
It was the highest converting page. And I'm talking
Nice.
ads. Obviously, this wasn't an SEO page because there was hardly any content on it. So understand your
Sure.
users, and in vernacular audiences, a straight message works better, much better
Straight.
than
Okay.
other things. And yeah, just get to the user problem and your benefit
Got
is
it.
what we want.
Got it.
And
Got
keep
it,
testing.
Ashutosh. Great.
There's nothing
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
testing.
So, like when it comes to content, I think you are heavy on top of the funnel content, right? I think you have spoken about that earlier also, and you have also spoken about the top of the funnel content, even helping in converting, not just in terms of awareness, right? So, can you double down into that? Like, does this follow the EAT, let's say, principles? Like, do you still follow that for all type of content? And in general, can you tell like what do you mean when you say that you can convert people using the top of the funnel ads itself? What is your take on that?
So this was a great learning experience. In fact, it became a case study with Unbounce. They covered us. So we were able to, for major categories, we were able to produce through top of the funnel content, we were able to get 30% of the leads that our paid ads were paying. So that was incredible. I mean, in a way, we weren't running that many ads because we were anyway getting to so many top of the funnel queries anyway. So my insight into this was yes. Oh, sorry. So my insight into this was to understand again the same thing, understanding the user journey. I give you one simple example. We had a service for marble floor grinding, cleaning your marble. Basically, it was cleaning. You clean your marble floor, and it was a service from our end. Now we talked to a lot of people, looked at a lot of keyword research, and for this there was already keyword research because top of the funnel people were already using all these things, but they were already looking for it. So the first question was, there is a stain on my marble. I have dropped something, maybe I don't know something on it. There is a stain. How do I remove that? People would first look for DIY ways to do it. So we created content for that. Now, how do you create content? You can simply write. Everybody was doing it. Use lemon and baking soda, etc., etc., etc. I went to a marble dealer. There were a lot of scrap marble pieces there. I said, oh, my kids want to make a project. Please give me the scrap. I paid a little bit of money, got a bag full of marble scraps. Got it, got our interns and our marketing team, stain this, stain it, now test it. Take a picture before, procedure, one, two, three, four, after. What is better than just writing about things? Pictures and honest thing. Here is your before, here is your after. We had a simple light room. There was a camera. People at that time, mobile phone cameras weren't that expensive, ones were that way. Take that picture. All right. Thing one tried, trick two tried, trick three tried, trick four tried. All these tricks are tried with pictures. And we actually did it. We even have pictures of people doing it. Like, a little video of us rubbing a piece of marble with a toothbrush, like the thing said. Like ED principles, right? Experience, expertise. Right. The next step was people would think about, like the person would think about, okay, now home remedy is not working. Is there a product from outside? So does Lysol work? Like, product ABCD work? What do? Same marble pieces, you get
Okay.
those bottles tested. And all the time we were
Mhm.
teasing that finally you will need to get full floor grinding done. Okay, so now next question is, what does floor grinding cost? Cost thing is very big in India. First thing we
Yeah.
ask is, how much is the cost? So we made one blog
Correct.
on costing. Then next, what is the procedure of floor grinding? How long does it take? What do they do? And the same thing, we went to a site, took a video. This is how the grinding is being done. The machine is working and nothing better than that, right? Angles of the machine.
Yeah.
This was the floor. This is after, right? Once you cover everything, your probability, anybody like, and you guide the person through that funnel. We used to also use, remarketing very effectively. If somebody has visited our home remedy page, we would start remarketing display ads to them saying, finally, why don't you give it a try? Get a bit of, we'll come and we'll give you a trial of writing. So this is, and it has to be done, the content has to be very, very authoritative. So we would not write the content. We would actually get a person who is an actual floor grinder, Rohit, floor grinder experience of 5 years of floor grinding. Put his picture there, right? And have him explain the thing. He
Understood.
might not be very educated, but he has been
Yeah.
grinding floors for 10 years. That is the authority that you want to talk. And we did it for painting, etc., etc.
Got it.
This is not a very doable thing now. There's a lot of competition because people have realized it, but still we can make better content is my question. Use more pictures, more videos, make it easy for the person. So this was the
One last question before I move on to the lightning round of questions, Ashutosh. So I think you have been uh, coaching a lot of students and professionals with digital marketing. I think with multiple partners. You know what are the skills that are important for a digital marketer? What is something that they need to learn and everything. But now with the things getting changed with respect to AI coming in, what are the skills you think are uh, going to be obsolete? Maybe you can pick top two or three. And what are the skills that you think are going to be more important in the coming, maybe let's not go too far, maybe for the upcoming 2 years, right? So what would be your take of these two things?
very quickly. I do not think that any skill will be obsolete. Skills will evolve. So if I'm
Okay.
talking about paid marketing, I'm saying Google ads on normal search. Now there will be
Hmm.
some sort of search ads even within AI results. The thing
Yes.
will pivot. So demand capture will pivot from one platform to the other. Again,
Sure.
and I recently read this with a company. There was this concept of a future marketer. I really loved which I am very proud to be. I have my hands dirty with everything. मैंने सब किया है. Like I have done it at one point of time. I have done everything. Even now at a very high level, you give me ads. I enjoy running ads. I have fun running Google ads, display ads, YouTube ads, etc. Stack so that you can look at all the channels and find out which channel works for you or how you pivot, and AI enabled. AI enabled. Workflows need to be AI enabled. Now I need to know how to write a prompt for creating responsive search ads. I need to know to extract that sheet. I need to understand how to put it in, how to analyze it. I know I can help. Oh, ChatGPT, please analyze it. But what are you looking for, man? Like give it context also, right? So the future marketer thing really like summarizes the whole thing. AI, first of all, full stack, everything, able to work with everything, an idea, AI, completely AI enabled, all the time thinking how I can use AI tools and processes to make this workflow easier for me, including like as
Sure.
Hawkeye does, creative testing and
Yeah.
generation that needs to be automated.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting obsolete. things are just changing, which they obviously change. We loved Google Analytics. We got very comfortable with it. Then they did not just change it. GA4 is completely different. Now we are talking events instead of visits. So,
Different, yeah.
and that's why I love being a marketer, digitally enabled marketer. There is always something new to learn
Nice.
all the time.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
take.
Got it, Ashutosh. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah. So I think let's now quickly go on to our lightning round, right? So just 5 questions. You can keep the answer extremely short, make a sentence or two max, right? So let's quickly get started. What would you recommend, a book or a podcast or a creator that you have been that you have been obsessed with, right?
Yeah, one thing which very quickly comes to my mind, there is this book called The Psychology of Persuasion, or I don't know, Persuasion, The Psychology of Influence by Robert Cialdini, Dr. Cialdini. Must for everybody, how basic
Sure.
psychology affects marketing and basic
Okay.
human nature does not change. It's a very old book, but it's still
Sure.
applicable in the AI age. I would recommend it to
So
everyone.
got it. And one metric that you are extremely obsessed on that you think every marketer should measure.
RAOS, because my boss is obsessed with it, but personally, brand lift. Brand lift. If we can calculate brand lift, all our marketing efforts, it's the distillation of every marketing effort that we have.
And one really underrated growth lever that gives sort of disproportionate results.
Engaging with your customers, good customer service, just good communication
Okay.
with your customers. That works especially for any kind of
Sure.
thing. Just don't ignore them in case of ads, for ads.
Okay. Got it. Sure. Now, another question, like in marketing, what's one thing that is overhyped? What's one thing that is going to become a new normal?
Frankly, Surinder, I have no idea. Everything's changing. Like they say, this is a developing story. We will have your details. So I am also learning. I'm also very excited because see, after so long, things have changed. I'm trying to, be that
Right.
40% AI, but, I'm sorry, 40 plus, but very AI enabled. I don't want to get obsolete yet, but, it's still there. But I would say that one thing which always stays, no matter how AI evolves, etc., your logic, the way that you logically think of the solution to a problem,
Okay.
especially in marketing, how do you communicate?
Sure.
The basic of marketing is communication. How do you communicate whatever you have to a client, an external person, to agencies, etc., that will never
Sure.
become obsolete? What is important in
Sure.
AI is, but the one thing which I'll add, and I know I'm taking too much time, the art of giving instructions. How with
Hmm.
AI, like you have a wo, all right? So these are the things which are very important.
Got it. Got it, Ashish. Last question. So, one habit or a system that is something that you use regularly that has been extremely effective for you.
Morning, watch your analytics, watch your numbers. You're running ads
Okay.
or whatever. Good morning analytics. Look at
Good
your
morning,
numbers.
analytics. No,
Yes, good
that's
morning
great.
analytics, good morning ad database. Do nothing, just look
Sure.
at numbers. They'll start talking to you.
Super.
So,
Super.
for a
Yeah.
marketer.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great, Ashish. Super. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ashish. This was really great talking to you. Learned a lot, and I think I was able to understand some of your perspectives. I think this learning is going to be extremely useful for us. And yeah, again, thanks a lot for your time. Looking forward to engaging with you more often. And
Yeah.
thanks for this.
Thank you. You have a great product. I'm also looking forward to knowing more about your product. And thank you so much, Surinder, for your time.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Ashutosh. Thanks for your time. See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.